What's up, everyone? Turkey and I are back out here on the trail for the third installment of our hiring series. If you haven't been following along, I started this series a couple of weeks ago by talking about whether or not you should hire at all, and then last week's video was about everything that you need to do before making your first hire. And then today we are going to be talking about the differences between independent contractors and employees. This is a topic that I am particularly passionate about myself because I started my business 9 years ago with independent contractors and then eventually transitioned my team of independent contractors to full employee status. And I know that this is something that a lot of other small businesses are thinking about as regulations change across the country. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on all of these hiring videos. I'm covering everything about the hiring and onboarding process over the next few weeks, and I post other videos weekly about my experience as a pet sitter, dog walker, and pet business owner. Let's start by talking about what an independent contractor actually is. And what they are is a separate entity, a separate person or a separate business that is offering their services to you and your business. They are not actually employed by your business, which means they set their own rates, they set their own hours, they set their own policies. They are not protected by your workers' compensation in most cases. They are not entitled to your company's benefits. I could go on and on. Oh my God, there's a deer over there in the woods. I don't know if you can see him. Did you see the deer, buddy? That was cool. Perks of making videos on the trail. So most states use what's called an ABC test to determine if someone should be classified as an employee or an independent contractor. The A part of this test talks about whether or not you have any control over them and the work that they are doing. The B part of this test is talking about whether or not the work that they are performing is normal to your business. And the C part of this test is talking about whether or not the work that they are performing is normal to their business. A is what really trips people up, and that is where almost everyone fails the test. Because if you have any control at all over these people and what they are doing, that makes them an employee, not an independent contractor. And it doesn't matter if you've already had them sign an independent contractor agreement and do all that paperwork, and you call them an independent contractor. That doesn't matter. What matters is when the IRS comes in and does an audit on your business and they determine that you have control over them, you are going to have to pay fines and back taxes and all kinds of stuff if you don't have them classified correctly to begin with. And while we're on the subject of the ABC test, I do think it's important to mention that each state interprets these laws a little bit differently, and places like California and New York are going to be way more strict than places like Florida, for example. And we've all heard about regulations changing around the country. We've all heard about how the IRS is bringing on tens of thousands of new employees. And the reason that the IRS is bringing on all these new employees is to come after small businesses for things like this. So even if you have gotten away with having independent contractors in the past, and even if you think that your state is one of the more lax states, I would not bank on that for very much longer because the world is changing. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I started my business with independent contractors, and I transitioned my independent contractors to full employee status because it is not worth the risk. So to give you some examples of what I'm talking about with whether or not you have any control over them and what they are doing, let's say, for example, that you tell your team members that they have to wear a branded shirt to their dog walks and pet sits. Boom, they're automatically an employee because you are dictating their dress code. Let's say that you tell your team members that they have to put key tags on their client keys. Boom, they're an employee, not an independent contractor because you have taken over control of that part of their work. Let's say that you tell your team members that they have to lock the door at the end of a pet sitting visit. Let's say that you tell them that they have to give the pets fresh water at each visit. That is all control over them and what they are doing, and those all make them automatically employees, not independent contractors. And that being said, I don't know why independent contractors were the norm for our industry for so long. They were the norm when I started. We can't do what we do as professionals, and we cannot run a sustainable, good, reputable business without being able to dictate some of these things. I just don't see how it's possible. If you can honestly say that you don't care if your team members lock the door at the end of a visit, and you don't care if they give the pets water or not, and you don't care if they send a picture and an update to their clients with each dog walk, if you can honestly say that you don't care about any of that, and that you would never tell someone to do that, then you can probably use independent contractors legally. But if you care about that kind of stuff and you want to make sure that your team is out there doing reputable work and upholding your brand in a positive way, then you got to use employees. I mean, come on, you just got to use employees. The reason a lot of businesses try to use independent contractors instead of employees is because you don't have to pay FICA taxes, which is 7.65% of your gross labor cost. You don't have to pay unemployment taxes, which in my area is like 2.7% of gross labor. You don't have to offer them workers' compensation, which in my area is like 3.4% or something like that. So you can save a lot of money, honestly, by using independent contractors instead of employees if you're just focusing on the taxes. But saving those couple bucks isn't going to make a difference if these people are out there doing bad work because you can't train them. You got to think about what actually matters in the grand scheme of things. And I would much rather spend a few dollars in taxes to know that I can legally train these people and dictate what they do and how they do it. And to add on to that, a lot of the people that think that they're saving money by using independent contractors, by not paying these taxes, are really not saving any money, because your average independent contractor wage in our industry currently is about 60% of what the client is paying. But the average labor cost for a company that uses employees is between 45 and 55%, and that's including all of those taxes that I just listed. Remember, independent contractors set their own rates. As an employee, you dictate how much they make. One of the whole reasons that we hear so many horror stories out of companies like Rover and Wag is because they use independent contractors and they don't vet or train their pet sitters and dog walkers at all. Anyone that can pass a background check can sign up on these platforms and just start offering these services with no training at all. And that's why you see these bad stories. I mean, you have to protect your business, you have to protect your brand, you have to protect everything that you have built and are trying to build. And you can't do that, in my opinion, with independent contractors. I've had several people recently try to justify using independent contractors instead of employees because it's a couple of extra steps and a little bit more work to onboard and train and manage employees instead of independent contractors. And yes, that is true. It is a few more steps. It is a little bit more work. But what work would you rather do? Would you rather do the work now to make sure that you have the paperwork signed and submitted and pay the taxes and train these people? Would you rather do that work, or would you do the work of disaster control, trying to explain to your clients why their door was left wide open and their dog is now missing? What work would you rather do at the end of the day? And I'm not saying that using employees instead of independent contractors is going to solve every issue. that's one of the things that comes with managing a team, is that if somebody decides that they don't want to show up for work today, it doesn't matter if they're an independent contractor or an employee, because either way, you are going to be out there scrambling to get to their visits and get their clients covered and all of that. You know, so I'm not saying that this is just a cure-all thing for your business, but it is important, and it does play a major impact. It has a major impact on your overall business. If you have any questions about any of this at all, please drop a comment down below. And if you're curious about how to transition your independent contractors to full employee status, that is something that I have done within my own business, and I do offer one-on-one coaching via Zoom. So check out the link down in the description. You can go to dougthedogguy.co and sign up for a Zoom call with me, and I'd be glad to help you with any of the hiring, training, and onboarding process. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my future videos. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be putting out a video about the financials of having a team and breaking down some of the basic numbers. I'm also going to be putting out a video about the actual job ad and application process, where to post your ad, things to say in it, and then things to look for within the application process. So lots of exciting stuff. I know I got a little bit preachy in today's video, but I do think that this is something that everyone should take seriously, and I think it's time to stop debating about it and just do the right thing. I'm Doug the Dog Guy, this is Turkey, and we're reminding you to stay positive.